there.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for meeting with me.
Yeah,
I
no
am
problem.
Georgia Larson, and I called you. I told you on the phone that I was going to be doing a project for my high school English class. It's called an ethnography. And what the project involves is me going and studying a group. We're going to call it a subculture. So I really appreciate you spending some time with me. And I picked you because you seem to be a good representative for this choral group that I'm looking at. So thank you for your time. And I do have one question. I would like to record your voice, if that's okay, just so I can go back over my notes and have a recording of that. Is that all right with you?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So I'll get that started. There we go. First of all, what is the exact name of the choral organization in which you are involved?
Well, the larger group is called Vocal Essence. It's all one word, capital V, capital E. But the smaller group within it is called the Vocal Essence Ensemble Singers, and that's the smaller paid professional group. But there's also a larger volunteer chorus within the group as well. And so I'm a member of the ensemble singers.
And so let me say that. So you're part of the group that's the paid group, or you are? Oh, okay. So how did you have to try out for that group?
Yeah, we do auditions like most professional ensembles. You know, you have to go in and have some pieces prepared, but they also have some tonal recall and some sight reading that you have to do. And then they have you come back for a callback with the actual members of the ensemble to see if your voice blends well and if you fit within the ensemble. And then you hear back a couple weeks later to see if you made it.
Wow. Do you know how many people tried out with you when you did that?
I'm not sure how many auditioned for the one soprano spot, but I know that there were probably about 6 or 8 other women there at the callback for the spot.
Really? Oh, how did that feel?
It was really intimidating because you go in and you get in your head a little bit, and I wasn't sure, the entire ensemble was there, like your whole section is there, all the current members as well as the new ones auditioning. And so I wasn't sure who was in the group and who were the other ones auditioning. And then, you know, you have to sing with the group and sing by yourself. So it's easy to get in your head, but you just try to find your center and just sing the best that you can.
Wow, that sounds intimidating.
That's what I do. It's a rush though, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. How did you get to know this group? How did you get connected with it?
I actually have a really good friend from childhood who I grew up with who is also a singer, and she's been singing with the group for many years. And so after I graduated from college, I really wanted to keep singing because I sang with the Concordia Choir for 3 years. And I thought, you know, I need to do something. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to see if they have any auditions. So I looked it up, and they had auditions the next week, so I signed up and did it.
Wow. So would you say, as far as the group is concerned, that you are the youngest person in the group, the middle age, or is there a wide range, or is it a lot of people the same age as you, same life situation as you? Who's in the choir?
Well, when I got in at the age of 22, I was the youngest person in the ensemble, and I was still the youngest person for my first 3 seasons. And so I got a lot of jokes about being the baby of the group. Now there are a couple people who are younger than I am now. I'm in my 4th season. I would say there are probably about 4 or 5 of us who are in our 20s. A large majority of the group is in their 30s and 40s. There are a lot of people who are married, who have children. A couple people are in their 50s, I would say. Our oldest member for a while was exactly 40 years older than I was. I know this because I was 22, he was 62, and I think he just retired this past year. So there's a pretty wide age range in there.
So did he have to retire from the choir?
Oh.
No. Okay. So
he lived in he lives about an hour away, so he was tired of the commute. He was like, I've been here for 20 years, I'm over it.
So once you try out, are you in forever, or do new people come? How do openings occur?
Openings generally occur when somebody leaves. I mean, we technically do re-audition every year, but barring any issues, you are typically invited to come back after your first year as a probationary year technically, and once that's done, you're in the group every year. But they do re-audition you to make sure your voice is still kind of up to par, that you're continuing to work on your vocals and you're not getting slack. And just to make sure that you're in the right section and that you're still blending with everybody else, and to see for solos. Because when they choose solos, they don't have you audition for them, they just assign them. So they like to keep up to date on what your voice sounds like and how you're doing vocally.
How many people are in the choir?
There are 32 in the ensemble singers, 8 per section, 4 firsts and 4 seconds of each section. And then the volunteer chorus probably has around 100.
Oh, okay.
It's a big group.
So there are times when the smaller group performs by itself.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then there's a time when the smaller and the bigger group perform.
Yep, we have, let's see how many concerts here. One in the fall, a big cluster at Christmas. Generally, the volunteer chorus does one by themselves in the spring, in February, called the Witness Concert, and it's celebrating African American culture and heritage. And they do a lot of spirituals and amazing music. This year they had the Morehouse College Glee Club. I think that's the name of the group. They came and they do it in Orchestra Hall, and it's sold out every year. So that's their big thing. And we do one in the spring. We're doing one a few weeks from now, and there's an annual concert called Cantoray, which we take turns doing every other year. And it is celebrating, it's the schools in the area are involved, and it's with all Spanish music, which is really cool. The ensemble singers often do smaller paid concerts where we go out and they're like, maybe the whole choir will go, maybe half of us will go. They're like, oh, we need 12 singers to go do this thing for this corporate event or to sing for this party. And so we do a lot of like music for hire around the area as well. So whenever there are smaller miscellaneous gigs, the ensemble singers will generally go do that thing.
Do you ever, so most of your performances are local, as in the Twin Cities, or do you sometimes go outstate Minnesota?
We do tours occasionally. Right now, a smaller group of the ensemble singers is doing a Mark Twain themed tour around the state, and we did that last year, kind of like Austin, Faribault, I forgot the other cities. And so they're doing that around the state. 2 seasons ago, we went out to Cincinnati and Chicago for the National ACDA, American Choral Director Association convention. My first season, we went to Dallas because we were headlining the convention down there. 2 summers ago, we actually were one of the featured choirs in the World Choral Symposium over in Seoul, Korea. So we were in Korea for a week.
Oh my.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. We were in Korea for a week, and then we were in China for a week performing there. So they do international tours every few years too.
So when you do all those tours, is that something, as far as the expenses for that, does the organization support that for you, or do you have to supply, do you have to pay for that, or how does that work?
Well, we actually get paid for going on
tour.
Oh my, which is,
really?
it's a pretty great thing to be like, I'm getting paid to travel with a bunch of my friends and do something I love and see amazing new things, so it's a dream job.
So is this a professional organization? Would you call it a professional organization?
It is a professional organization. In fact, Vocal Lessons has been the house choir for Prairie Home Companion for almost as long as it's been in existence. We did it this year, we did it last year. It's a pretty great job.
I would say so. But nobody does it as their full-time employment, right?
No, it's not a full-time job. Most people are a lot of music teachers. I think I'm the only English teacher. Some stay-at-home parents. I would say vast majority of us are either teachers or performers with other things. So people have private students. Some business people. Yeah, it's a pretty wide variety, but a lot of teachers.
So they make it work with people's schedules then too, so that people.
For sure.
So how often do you participate with this group? Do you have weekly practice? Do you have how does that work?
We practice every Tuesday night in Minneapolis from 6:30 to 9:30. The ensemble meets for 3 hours. The chorus only meets for 2.5. They just meet from 7 to 9:30. And then concert weeks, we'll have more rehearsals. We'll be like, oh, we have rehearsal this night, this night, this night. So it depends on the concert schedule, but generally once a week for 3 hours.
Okay. So it sounds like it's a regular commitment then for you. Okay, I'm looking at my questions here. Oh, I'm going to go with this. What would you say, since this is a professional group that's for hire where people are paid, here's another one. Does the group ever do any volunteer work where they go do something for free or do something for a cause or anything like that?
Yep, there's actually a clause in our contract that states that at least 1 performance and 1 rehearsal per year. I think that's what it is. I haven't read it recently, but I know that there is some certain amount that is specified that is on a volunteer basis. So technically, one of our performances or one of our practices a year is a volunteer one. And I think that they do some outreach with either schools or with senior communities. I'm not sure, because Vocal Lessons isn't just the choir itself, but it's a whole music organization. So they do a lot of work in schools, a lot of educational outreach programs. I know Witness reaches out to a lot of disadvantaged communities in the area. Conterey works with a lot of schools in the area. I think Champlain Park's involved in Conterey this year. I'm not sure. I know they have been in the past. They might be this year because Mrs. Saban, who teaches choir here, is also in the organization.
Okay. So then that kind of leads me to this question. What is the purpose of your group? Does it have a mission?
Oh, it has a mission statement. I don't have it memorized.
But that's okay. Just generally speaking, what seems to be the purpose of this group?
I think the mission of the group is, I would say, to continue the choral tradition and to get new and less frequently heard music out there to the community and to get the community well involved in singing.
So do you ever, have you ever done a song that was really different that you just never heard or?
Pretty much everything.
Oh, okay, everything is.
The funny thing about our director is that he's been involved in the professional music world since he was a teenager. He was the youngest to ever member of the Minnesota Orchestra, I think. He played piano for them when he was 18 or 19. And so for him, he's like, oh, you've all heard this one, you've all done this a million times. And we're all thinking, I've never seen this in my life. It's completely foreign to me. We're like, sure, Philip. So yeah, we do a lot of music that nobody's ever heard of. And then his thing is he really wants to find new composers and music people haven't heard of. He's like, oh, this one is a gem and nobody ever does it. So he takes a lot of pride in doing music that nobody's ever heard before, that's been around, it's a hidden gem. So that's kind of the trademark of Vocal Lessons, is doing some untraditional music. So
can you give an example? What would be a piece of untraditional music?
Well, last year we did a choral opera called Radio Hour, and it was a new piece by a modern composer named Jake Heggie. And there was an actress who was in it, but she didn't speak at all. All of the dialogue came from us, the chorus, and we sang it. And it was a story about a woman who was sad and depressed in her everyday life. And so she comes home and she listens to the radio and it seems to be taunting her, but then it invites her inside and she goes into the sound waves and we're all singing and there's lights and there are props and everything, and she like finds herself through the music. And so there was staging, we had to do some choreography and stuff, and it was quite an experience.
How would you classify your sound? That might be a tricky one, but I don't know, we'll see.
I think it'd be hard to classify. I mean, we try to just generally sing with good technique that's appropriate to whatever piece we're doing, because I know that Philip and a lot of people in our group take a lot of pride in the fact that we're very adaptable. And he said, when people come to our concert, I want the sound to be different for every single piece. I don't want it to sound like the same sound with different notes and different rhythms. I want it to be a different sound. So if we're singing a Native American piece, he has us adjust our technique and use slightly different vocal technique to convey that sound. Or if we're doing a madrigal, we'll use less vibrato. Or if we're doing an opera piece, he said, all right, let the color out. But we definitely adjust our sound for every piece that we do.
And when you are a part of this group, are there any rules in the group? I mean, written rules or unwritten rules, perhaps?
Well, yeah, there are definitely a lot of official rules. I mean, there are rules about attendance and rehearsal conduct and things like that. I'd say unwritten rules. I mean, I feel like within the choral community in general, a lot of people learn these rules from high school choir and college choir, and they carry them into it's just general rules of how you conduct yourself. You can tell who choir kids are if you're in other situations singing after college, because they're the ones who, if they make a mistake, they'll automatically raise their hands. Because it's a way for conductors to know, because if they hear a mistake and nobody acknowledges it, they think, okay, do I need to go back and fix this mistake? Do they realize they're doing it wrong? But if you hear a mistake and somebody goes, oh, that's me, they know, oh, the person realized it, they wrote it in their score, and they'll fix it. And that's another thing, as professional musicians, we're expected to come in and just know our music. So you'll pick it up maybe a couple days ahead of time, sometimes, or you'll get it at the previous rehearsal, and you're expected to come in and know your stuff. And if you don't, then that's pretty frowned upon. You'll get the stink eye from some people or the conductor, because our conductor gives a pretty good evil eye if you mess up. So that's definitely another unspoken rule, is that you'll take care of your own business and you'll come in knowing what you're doing.
Do you does that come pretty easy for you? Remember, do you have to how does that work for you?
We don't generally memorize all of our music. If we're doing like an opera or a performance like that where we can't be holding things, we have to memorize it. As a violinist, I grew up playing violin and I had to memorize everything I played for that because I learned the Suzuki method. So I'm used to memorizing a lot of stuff, so it comes fairly easily for me. Though my friends in the group like to tease me and be like, well, you just memorize things easily because you're young. And I'm like, well, it could be that. I don't know. But generally, learning music and sight reading have always come pretty easily to me, because when I took violin lessons, my violin teacher did a lot of ear training with me. So that's, for me, it's really exciting. I'm like, oh, I love sight reading. It's exciting. It's a rush. But for other people, they're like, you're crazy. It is miserable and terrifying. So it depends on the person.
That would be me. I like music, but I don't know if I could just, throw it down right away. It takes me a few times. So interesting. So what would you say that, what does this group do for you? Like, why do you do this?
I think above all, I just really love music. And it's a way for me to have it a regular thing in my life that it still makes it a priority, because it's so easy with being a teacher and having a social life and having my family around, for me to get not mixed up, but tied up in other things and forget to do something that I really love to do just simply because I love to do it. And so for me, it's a time every single week from 6:30 to 9:30. I check everything else at the door, and I am simply a musician for those 3 hours, and it's just so wonderful. And even if I'm stressed and I'm thinking, I don't want to go, I'm tired, I'm cranky, I always come out feeling better than I go in. And it's also a really fantastic community after 4 years, and I have so many wonderful close friends from so many different backgrounds, and they're just the most warm, wonderful, caring people. We all have that common love of music, so it's just the most wonderful community.
I would imagine that they are quite inspiring, actually.
For sure. I mean, I work with a woman who teaches poetry down at Normandale, but she also has a family, and she plays viola and violin, and she's a professional published poet. And
okay then.
Yeah, just the most amazing people. They're
Some people have all the talent.
I know. I was like, why don't you just be amazing and make us all look bad, Anna? But she's just the nicest person. She's really involved in activism and stuff in her society and her community as well. I could just say endless great things about my coworkers, but
so I would imagine then you probably are similar to your colleagues in that way, in that it fulfills that need to do music, that need to do the art form.
Yeah,
would you say that's fair to say?
We love it, and we have to sing. We just can't help ourselves. We have to sing.
So then, what do you think? So that's the impact on the people in the group. What about the impact of the people that you serve? So the people you sing to. What kind of impact have you heard any feedback ever from people, or how do you think your work impacts others?
You look out at our concerts and you see, I don't want to generalize our entire audience, but you see a lot of gray hair in the audience. And I think it's the people who grew up in the choral community, who were involved in it when they were younger, and it's always been a big part of their lives. For some people, they're season subscribers. They go to every single concert, and it's a really big deal for them. It's like, oh, the annual Christmas concert, and it's really exciting. That's what I think a big part of it is that Minnesota is actually referred to as like a choral mecca for a lot of people, because there's so many very strong choral traditions in the colleges around here. So people graduate from those colleges, they've been involved for years, and they just want to keep that tradition going. They want to relive those memories. We're actually doing a concert this spring called Listener's Choice through NPR, where they had people all over the country vote for their all-time favorite choral pieces, and we're doing their favorites.
Oh,
so
fun.
I think this concert especially is going to be really emotional for people to come and hear those songs. And the second you hear those opening chords, all these memories from your high school, college, church choir days just wash over you. It's going to be a really great experience. I think the audience is going to love it.
Well, that is just a whole lot of interesting information, and I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for sharing all of that, and I look forward to learning even more and watching vocal lessons. So thank you for your time.
You're very welcome.